Hello, I'm Matt Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Jay Palston, and I'm here to talk about Jarrad Branthwaite's omission from the final England squad for this summer's European Championships. Obviously, I think when Jarrad Branthwaite started playing well for Everton at the start of the season, and it was clear that it wasn't just a flash in the pan. He's a player we've rated for a number of years in terms of his potential, but to see him do that in the Premier League over the first sort of dozen games or so of his season, didn't start the first two games, of course, but gets towards December time, you're thinking, right, Jarrad Branthwaite should be in contention for a call-up at the next available opportunity. Carried on playing well, and he rightfully got on the squad last time. Didn't play a game, but great to see him in the squad, and that obviously makes you think he may well be in the manager's thinking for the tournament. It's then announced that the squad's going to 26, and you're thinking, okay, well, look, if he gets in the squad, no matter how big it is, you imagine it probably would have been 30 plus players. You'd like to think he'd probably get in there, and obviously he played against Bosnia the other week, came on, made his debut, great moment for him, 71st English Everton player to play for England. I think that puts Everton, I think, joint fourth maybe on that list. I'm not far off top, which is interesting. I've never heard that before, but really good stuff. And then obviously comes out the players who have been left at home. Maddison, bit of a surprise. Grealish, quite a big surprise, I think, for a lot of people. Maguire, obviously injured. Kwanzaa, Trafford, Jones, players I think people have probably expected to be left at home. And then you're thinking, is it going to be Branthwaite? Is it going to be potentially Joe Gomez, potentially Kieran Trippier, Luke Shaw, maybe even like John Stones, Mark Gahey, come on to the reasons why. Lewis Dunk's probably the biggest one. Maybe one of the forward players, because England have got quite a lot of players who are going to play in some positions. And then obviously comes out, it's Jarrad Branthwaite. Whether he was officially the seventh player that Southgate chose to admit, I'm not sure. But that's what's come out as, and obviously he's now left the squad. They're actually playing now, and I think they're still getting beat. We're about just past half time now, so he's not played the minutes. If he was playing, I'm sure there's a good chance he would still be a goal down. Maybe if Pickford's playing, that would be different. But in terms of Branthwaite, obviously not getting in the squad, it's interesting. I don't think it's the biggest crime an international manager's ever done, or an England manager's ever done. Obviously Ian Wright not going to, was it Euro 96, Gaz of the World Cup. Even you could argue players like Marcus Rashford for this tournament, or Dom Solanke, players like that, you were more surprised not going. Certainly Solanke anyway for me. Not going over Branthwaite is a bigger deal. But I look at this and I say he's played more games than Gomez, Dunk, Gahey and Stones this season. He's played as many games as Kwanzaa, so that's good for him. He could play and fill in at left back. Only Joe Gomez can do that out of all those players. He also plays on the left side of the defence, which Mark Gahey and you argue Gomez are probably the only players who are going to do that out of that lot. Gahey's not played 90 minutes for his club team since the end of January. I think John Stones played 90 minutes once in the league over the last couple of months, and I think he's only played sort of 20 odd games this season. Had a real bad season for injuries for him. Lewis Dunk has not done anything of note in England shirts in terms of putting a real good performance. I would argue. Obviously, he came back into the squad after a few years away, and then he didn't play particularly well against Belgium a couple of weeks ago. That can happen, of course, and I do really rate Lewis Dunk. He's a good player, but obviously he scored against us this season for Brighton. He actually scored 2 goals, didn't he? But one was disallowed, cracking finish. But for me, Branthwaite has been better than any of the English centre-backs in the conversation this season. I think in terms of his skill set, the height and aerial presence he brings. Okay, he's not as well built as Harry Maguire. He's obviously much quicker than Harry Maguire. Obviously strong on his left side would be his dominant foot. But I think in terms of height and in terms of calmness on the ball, I think the ability to bring the ball forward, I would say, behind Stones, Maguire, he may well be the best at that. Okay, he can't play right back in the same way Kwanzaa and obviously Joe Gomez can, but I do think he would have been the best option in terms of an extra centre-back to go for England, because he can then fill in at left-back if needed a couple of times for Everton this season, of course. But he decided not to pick him, and that's it. At the end of the day, he's England's future. He's going to go to a lot of tournaments. You'd like to think 3, 4, maybe 5 more tournaments to come for him. it's at the end of the world for him either. Is it good for Everton? I'm not sure. So his stock's not going to rise when he's not there. Potentially means there's a longer time in the summer for him to potentially move on or be spoken to about that. If he's with the camp, he'd be with them for 3-4 weeks, and maybe that would potentially limit any action. But I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, there's bigger news on Everton in terms of off the pitch and what's going to happen with the financial side of things. Does that mean Everton are going to be under less pressure to sell Jarrad Branthwaite? Will they be able to keep him for another season? I really hope so. And maybe him not going to the Euros helps that, because if he were to go, he wouldn't be first choice, obviously, because he's not even 5th or 6th choice, whatever it is. But if he ended up playing, I'm sure he'd do well, because he's played well for, I think, 35 of the last 36 games he played for Everton in the Premier League, other than that one game he was suspended for. And he's looked top draw. He played in the cup games as well, of course. So he's played a lot of football this season. So that's another good thing. He gets a rest, and we can see how he gets on over the summer, and hopefully he comes back, maybe put a bit of a fire in his belly, and maybe want to perform even better next season. Hope that's for us. So the pros and cons to it, but I think largely it's a good thing for Everton, and I hope in the long term be a good thing for Jarrad Branthwaite. He's not going to play for Everton his whole career unless we really turn things around. But I hope he plays another season at Everton, and hopefully we get a hungrier, better and more developed all-round Jarrad Branthwaite this season, because he's one who has a point to prove, and I think that left-side centre-back spot is really there for him if he wants to have it. So let's see what happens over the next few weeks, and obviously I hope he can do well for Jordan Pickford's sake, in terms of hoping he can go and really achieve something good there. And I'm sure Jarrad Branthwaite will have his chance to be involved in potential England successors moving forward. So let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think he should have been in the final squad? If not, why not? Think he should have made it, and if so, how come? Do you think it's a good thing for Everton, or do you think it would have been more beneficial if he'd gone and played for England and Germany this summer? Let me know your thoughts down below, and we'll see you next time. Next one.